What if everything you believe about your own history is just a very old, very successful PR campaign?
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Haanaan Wins. Honestly, Seb, I'm feeling a little too much like that today, just a bit raw and exposed. We've had so much wind lately. I feel like I've been physically scrubbed clean.
Well, you're looking bright, even if I am dialing in from the home studio today. A bit more quiet on my end than usual.
It's definitely a bit too quiet. I'm missing the chaos of the others. Paco is actually out today. He's currently in a heated debate with a local community organizer about whether capybaras should be officially recognized as parliamentary observers, given how much they keep their chill during legislative sessions.
And Jane is, well, Jane is currently unavailable because she's refusing to leave her house until she can prove the recent news about the Parmigiano Reggiano heatwave isn't a deep state conspiracy to devalue Italian exports. She's deep in the spreadsheets.
She'll come around. Once the pressure stabilizes, she'll be back to her usual skeptical self.
Speaking of things being manipulated, it's funny how we're so obsessed with deepfakes and digital misinformation today, yet we rarely look at the original blueprint for how an identity is manufactured.
You're leading into it, aren't you?
I am. Today we're looking at Antoine Faivre's The Eternal Hermes. We're looking at a rebranding project, how a simple Greek messenger god was systematically morphed into a mythic Alicia Mickle mastermind. Let's get into the metamorphosis. Okay, so I've got the text in front of me. We're looking at the very beginning of Faivre's anthology, the preface and the first chapter. And Emily, I have to say, even the disclaimer at the top feels heavy. It's this unofficial, free digital edition translated by the underground occult store.
I love that. It makes it feel like we're reading something we're not supposed to have. Like we're eavesdropping on a secret library.
Right? But then we hit the meat of it. The title, The Eternal Hermes, from Greek god to alchemical magus. And the first thing Faivre does is set the stage with this beautiful, almost cinematic imagery. He describes the Greek Hermes slipping into a cave at dawn like light through a crack.
It's so visceral, and he uses words like plastic, mobile, and ambiguous.
Exactly, and that's the key. Before he becomes this heavy, stone-carved sage, he is movement. He's the god of the in-between. He's the messenger who doesn't just follow a map, but follows winding paths where accidents happen.
Wait, I love that part. He says his route isn't the shortest distance between 2 points. It's the wandering itself. It's not about the destination, it's about the unexpected encounter.
It's almost the opposite of how we live now, right? Everything is GPS and optimization. But Hermes? Hermes thrives on the unforeseen. He's the god of Hermii unplanned good luck.
But there's a darker side to that mobility, isn't there? He's a thief, not a traveler.
He is, and this is a crucial distinction Faivre makes, he's not like Prometheus. Prometheus steals fire to change the world, but Hermes, he steals to keep things circulating. He steals things only to put them back into the flow.
So he's a cosmic recycler?
In a way, he's a psychopomp. He moves souls between the living and the dead. He's a delivery guy, ensuring the energy of the universe doesn't get stuck in one place.
So he's the middleman. But then, how does this thieving messenger turn into the thrice greatest sage? Because that sounds way more stationary. Way more, I have all the answers written in a book.
That's exactly where the deepfake element comes in. This is the part that tripped me up. Faivre explains that this transition happened through two main things, euhemerism and the fascination with Egypt.
Euphemerism? That sounds like a medical condition.
It's actually a historical theory. It's the idea that gods were originally just very impressive humans, people who did extraordinary things, and after they died, everyone just rebranded them as deities.
So it's a historical PR campaign. He invented the lyre. He's a god now.
Precisely, and then you add the Egyptian layer. The Greeks look at Egypt, see Thoth, this ancient, powerful figure with hieroglyphs and deep wisdom, and they go, hey, that looks a lot like our Hermes. This is identity theft. They took the Greek messenger, merged him with the Egyptian Thoth, and suddenly, he wasn't a trickster god anymore, he was Hermes Trismegistus, the architect of all sacred knowledge.
That is such a wild rebrand. It's like taking a local street performer and, through a series of clever social media posts, convincing the world he's an ancient philosopher king.
And it works. The text says this double movement, where humans become gods through fame, and gods become humans through history, is what creates this incredibly fluid, unstable identity.
It's no wonder the genealogies are a mess. I was looking at the list he mentions. He has all these different fathers, different lineages. One version says he's the son of the sky. Another says he's the son of Nile.
It's total chaos. But that's the point. The true Hermes isn't a single person or a single myth. He's the intersection of all these moving parts. He's the bridge.
It makes me wonder if our most sacred traditions are built on these layers of rebranding and clever interpretation. What else are we misremembering?
That, my friend, is exactly what we're here to find out. Okay, so we've established the rebrand, but now Faivre starts listing the sheer scale of the resume. He isn't just a messenger. He's being credited with being the first legislator. He's up there with Moses and Solon.
Moses? Wait, we're putting a Greek messenger god in the same breath as the guy who received the Ten Commandments? That is a massive leap.
It's a full-on collision of worlds. He says Mercury is credited with giving the Egyptians their laws, teaching philosophy to priests. He's even called the founder of Egyptian religion by some.
So the deepfake wasn't just about changing his personality. It was about hijacking the entire foundation of civilization. If you can claim you invented law, astronomy, and even the alphabet, you don't just have a following, you have a monopoly on truth.
Exactly. And it gets even more wild. He mentions this Arabic text, the Picatrix from the 10th century. It claims Hermes built statues to control the flow of the Nile using the movement of the moon.
Okay, now we're moving from historical sage into full-on supervillain engineer. That sounds less like a philosopher and more like a cosmic architect playing with the environment.
Right, but look how the text connects this to the Islamic tradition. He talks about Idris. This is a huge pivot. He says, while his name isn't in the Quran, historians identified him with Idris the prophet whom God exalted to a high station.
So the rebranding moves from Greek to Egyptian, then to Arabic, then into the Quranic tradition. It's like a virus that just keeps finding new hosts.
And it's more than a name change. It's a functional expansion. He says there are 3 Hermeses. The first is the civilizer who carves sacred science into hieroglyphs. The second, in Babylon, was the precursor to Pythagoras. And the third, he was the first teacher of alchemy.
Wait, the third one is the alchemist? So the magical version of him is actually the latest iteration?
Precisely. He's growing. He's accumulating layers. And it's not just in the East either. He brings it back to the West, to the Latin world. He mentions this idea that the Holy Grail might actually come from the cup of Hermes.
You see, even the most romantic, knightly legends of the Middle Ages might just be a highly stylized, medievalized version of an ancient Greek cup. It's all one continuous stream of reinterpretation.
But here's where the tension really spikes. This is the part that always makes me a bit uneasy when I read it. The identity becomes so fragmented that the church starts, they start fighting back.
I saw that. The text says he was judged, ridiculed, and turned into a devil.
Yeah, it's a complete 180. On one hand, he's the Logos, the representative of Christ, the good shepherd carrying a lamb. But on the other hand, he's being depicted as a demonic figure, a thief, a liar. Even the author says Satan loves to take the form of Mercury.
That is such a heavy psychological split. It's like the archetype has a fractured psyche. One moment he's the divine messenger of truth, and the next he's a literal demon in a disguise.
And the imagery gets messy. He describes these medieval illustrations where Mercury has a dog's head because of Anubis, or where his wings are so huge they cover his entire body like a cloak, or even worse, where his caduceus his sacred staff is replaced by a 2-lamp candelabrum.
Someone was definitely not paying attention in art class.
No, but it's serious. It shows how the signal is getting lost in the noise. The original symbol is being distorted by every artist's misunderstanding or every priest's agenda.
It's lossy compression. You keep passing the file around, and by the time it reaches the 13th century, the image is totally pixelated.
But then, just when you think the identity is completely broken, the Renaissance arrives, and it pulls him back. He's no longer just a demon or a saint. He becomes the interpreter of the mind, the very genius of human eloquence.
So the deepfake goes from a way to hide the truth to a way to express the highest human potential.
Exactly. He ends up as the bridge that connects the pagan past to the intellectual future. He's the third given, the middle ground where everything meets. Okay, so we've talked about the rebrand, but now Faivre starts dropping the actual evidence. We're looking at the 14th and 15th centuries, and the text gets really specific about Boccaccio. He has this book, Digiminatio Deorum, and Faivre calls it the best example of the border between medieval and Renaissance myth.
And he's looking for the hidden layers in his stories. He uses this phrase subcordis, under the bark or under the shell.
Exactly. The idea is that every poem or story has a hidden meaning underneath the surface. And Boccaccio is obsessed with this idea of identity through attributes. He basically says you can identify the planet Mercury by looking at its flexible nature.
And he gives us a list. He says Mercury is essentially 5 different things at once: the planet, the physician, the orator, the merchant, and the thief.
The thief. It's hard to escape that original Greek trickster energy, isn't it? Even in a scholarly Renaissance text, you can't scrub the larceny off him.
But then it gets even more crowded. He brings in Petrarch, then even earlier writers like Pierre Berzuier, where Mercury is the patron of eloquence, but, and this is the kicker also, the patron of false ideologues.
So even in the 1300s, they were worried about fake news.
Total classic. But look at how the deepfake expands here. He says that up until the 12th century, astrology in the West was pretty limited, just a few old commentaries. Then, massive waves of Arabic texts get translated into Latin.
And suddenly, the floodgates open. This isn't just a trickle of info, it's a surge of popularity. Calendars, almanacs, prognostications, everything is suddenly filled with planetary imagery.
And Mercury is right at the center of this surge. He mentions these 2 crazy types of imagery. One is Melothia, where the zodiac signs are literally mapped onto the human body.
And the second one is even more cinematic. He calls them the children of the planets. You see these images of a deity, like Mercury, in a chariot hovering over a group of figures that are his children.
And these children aren't literal kids. They are personifications of human qualities. Musicians, magicians, scribes, merchants, basically anyone whose life is unstable or inconstant.
It's a perfect visual metaphor for the god himself. He's presiding over the flow, the movement, the very people who live in the in-between.
It's like he's the CEO of the gig economy.
Exactly. If you're a freelance scribe or wandering merchant, Mercury is your patron. And this imagery stays incredibly consistent. He mentions the Mantegna tarot from around 1460. It's a ladder of meditations.
I love the description of this Mercury. He's got the triangular hat, the boots, the flute, and the caduceus that the snakes on the staff are replaced by little winged dragons. And he's standing over the headless head of Argus.
It's this incredible synthesis. It's the ancient Greek Hermes, mixed with the medieval version, all updated for a Renaissance artist. It's not a new creation, it's a remix.
It's like a collage, and it spreads everywhere from Italian frescoes to German houses. Even Albrecht Dürer is picking up these motifs.
But we have to look at the most beautiful version of this. Faivre points us to Botticelli's Primavera.
Oh, that painting is everything.
It's stunning. He describes Hermes here as the leader of the Graces. He's using his magic wand to command the winds and the clouds, flying through them like a bird. But, and this is what I love, he looks melancholy.
Yes, he's the god of eloquence, but also the god of silence and meditation. He's the intellect that uses reason to reach for heavenly things.
And Faivre makes this profound connection. He says the painting embodies the whole Hermetic process, emanatio, conversio, remitio, the flow of energy, from the breath of passion, the wind to the turning of the dance, and finally the return to the heavens in the image of Mercury.
It's the cycle of the soul, the wind comes down, the dance happens, and the spirit ascends.
But it's not all beautiful meditations and Renaissance art. We have to go back to the darker side. The text reminds us that Mercury is also in the miseries. He's a character in plays where he's a servant to a king, or even a demon.
The legend of Emperor Julian.
Right? The story where Julian's mother-in-law finds a statue of Mercury in the Tiber, the emperor sells his soul to this creature and becomes an apostate.
So we're back to the unstable identity. One moment he's a high priest of humanism, and the next he's the literal demon that gave an emperor his power.
It's the tension of the figure. He is the bridge, but a bridge can be crossed by a saint or a devil. He is the very definition of the in-between. That tension between the divine and the demonic, it's getting quite heavy. Let's take a quick breather before we dive into the darker stuff.
I agree. My brain needs a moment to settle that transition.